All right, welcome to Sports Guys on Campus Review. Another loaded weekend of sports. We had 4 college football playoff games. We had lots of bowl games. We had a lot of really great college basketball games. There were a lot of things going on. All the soccer tournaments all finished up. How you doing, Robbie?
Doing great. Really good. Just enjoying being off of work. Christmas screaming at us in a good way, and more sports than I can even keep up with.
Get to see you in 2 days. I'm
Beautiful.
excited about that. You and the family, and we're gonna have a real
Yeah.
good coming together. What was your takeaway from the 4 games?
Well, definitely that the Power Five are they need to come to some resolution because that's not acceptable. That's not the answer. Nothing stopping the Power Five from getting up into the top 12. I mean, it's not a monopoly. They just you'd have to be special to get up there, and nobody's owed anything. I think maybe in the power conferences, but uh, I think the blowouts were foreseeable and should be correctable in the future.
We saw a week ago. You and I both predict all 4 results. The only one different was I picked A&M and you picked Miami, but we saw
Hmm.
that one be a really good game. We knew it would be 2 really good defenses.
Yeah,
And what we saw were 2 blowouts, and we predicted that. We said neither one of these teams really had a chance,
yeah,
and it was kind of embarrassing. I think for college
it was.
football, they chose 10 right and they chose 2 wrong, and they've got to fix it next year. They just have to.
Yeah, and just out of the fear of being sued is not good enough. You have to come to an agreement that there has to be some mechanism. Maybe there's a play-in game where the best Power Five team gets to play against the next team out for a
Mhm.
spot, something like that. And if you have a special game, you can get yourself in, but it shouldn't just be bestowed upon, a team that isn't playing any competition. I mean, take it from a Virginia fan who we didn't play anybody this year. We didn't really belong there, to be honest. As much as I wanted us to be there, gonna be honest, we didn't really beat anybody. We beat Florida State while they were number 6 in the country. They ended up being a dumpster fire. Um, we just didn't beat very many good teams. We didn't play
So
very
we
many
saw,
good teams.
so we so we saw Ole Miss beat this same Tulane team just 2 months ago, 45-10, and do it again, 41-10 this time.
Yeah.
We saw Oklahoma beat Alabama twice in the regular season, and essentially go out to a 17-point lead and look like they were about to get it done again in Norman, Oklahoma. And somehow Alabama made all the right adjustments at halftime, tied up 17-17. And as soon as they did, I knew it was over. I mean, it was clear that Alabama offense was getting really, really hot,
Yeah.
even against that really strong defense. So that
Before
was
we
a
get
great
too much,
game.
before
Yeah.
we get too much into the meat of the games, how did you feel the games were, the 4 games? Like, did you feel they were exciting to watch? I kind of did.
Yeah. No, they were exciting. Even
They were
the
good.
Oregon game took out all their starters in the second half, put in their second stringers, and let
Hmm.
JMU go on a huge run, which I knew was a lot of fun for them. And it still ended up in a blowout, even with second stringers.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was fun to watch. I think Tulane was the one team that you and I both call really shouldn't have been anywhere close to the college football playoff. And it was clear to me that they were playing a much more superior team from the SEC.
Yeah. Although I like their quarterback, so
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I felt like Tulane was going to have less of a, I mean, get blown out less than JMU. I thought JMU was going to get annihilated.
JMU had some really nice weapons, and they started getting them going a little bit in the second
They
half. But
did.
I enjoyed watching all 4 of them. I thought it was great.
So did I.
I love this tournament compared to what we used to get was just 2 and then just 4. So now
Yeah.
we're getting to the point where we've got 12. I think that there still needs to be some additional tweaks next year. They need to just not worry
Yeah.
about
It-
what conference you come from, and basically we want the best 12 teams.
I think if you want to account for the conferences and give them a path in, you have playing games.
Hmm.
And these Power Five have to play the next best teams for the bottom spot.
Hmm.
So Miami should have played Tulane and whoever's
And Notre
next to
Dame should
us.
have played JMU.
Notre Dame
something
should have
like
played JMU. Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Or not Miami. Maybe BYU should have played Tulane and Notre Dame should have played JMU. And
Hmm.
then there's no complaint. You had an opportunity
Hmm.
and you had to beat them to go in. So that involves 14 teams at that point.
That's what college basketball does. They went from
Yeah.
64 to 68. They gave four teams a
Yeah.
play-in
That's how
chance.
you do it. That's how you keep from getting sued.
Hmm. That's right. So yeah, I thought it was really exciting. It's not nearly as exciting as this next round's going to be. You're going to have four
Yeah.
really good games. I think I'm really pumped about this. I think
Hmm.
this quarterfinal round will be really the ultimate. You've got eight teams that all deserve to be there, and that's exciting. I think it's going
Oh,
to be
it's
really, really
great.
good football.
Honestly, the level of football is so good right now in the college.
Hmm.
There are professional athletes that are basically playing college football, and they're teetering on being pros. I mean, they're being paid, which means they're professionals, and they're right on the edge of making it to the NFL. And they're staying longer, sort of getting that extra seasoning and going to different environments and the transfer portal. I mean, I'm starting to look at it a little differently. Um, and Mike Leach had a really interesting proposal. Did you hear what it was?
To have a college football draft.
To have two tracks. You can either
Mhm.
be on the 4-year academic track, or you could be on the basically like you're a an employee kind of, and you can get drafted to teams
Hmm.
and all that stuff. So it's pretty interesting.
The only way to balance the talent is going to be to have some kind of draft and have a salary
Salary
cap,
cap.
or else
Yeah.
you're not going to have any parity.
I think we're going toward that. I think they're gonna copy as much of the pro game as you can because it's in a healthy place.
Hmm.
It's so weird that the NFL's in a healthy place, but kids are moving away from playing football because of injuries.
Hmm.
So they need to think about that pretty hard. What are they going to do to try to eliminate some of these ACL injuries that are real pervasive?
So we're going to get into
They,
all four of those games. We're also going to talk about some of the smaller bowl games, like the NC
Mhm.
State win. That was a humongous win by NC
That was
State
great.
against a
Yeah.
really good team. We'll get into that game.
The
We're also going to
blast at
talk
Memphis.
at the end of the program tonight. We're going to look at the top 25 in college basketball. I think it's really worth looking at it now, 2 months in. What I realized this weekend was there actually were some great college basketball games, and it was a nice complement to the college football playoff.
Yeah.
And what you're seeing, it's interesting, Robbie, is I think you're seeing a concentration of talent at the top in the top 12 in basketball too.
Hmm.
And we'll show that situation. But you've got all these 12-0 and 11-1 teams all at the top, and then everybody below 12, including our Virginia Cavaliers, are good. They're good, but I look at those top 12 right now, and it could change, but as really the contenders, and you'll see they're all the big names. They're all the big programs.
I know this time of year I check in a little bit, but I don't obsess over it because there's so much movement. A lot of the conferences aren't really playing each other yet.
Hmm.
It hasn't. It starts really for me. There's two seasons, and then March Madness is the third season. So there's
Hmm.
three different seasons. This is the early season.
Hmm.
This is season one where there are tournaments in Maui and
Hmm.
tournaments in this and that, so that they get used to tournament play where they have to play like every other day and all that. And you're figuring out who's on your roster and who you have. And with transfer portal being what it is, it certainly is more impactful um, with more changing rosters. And then the second season is from after New Year's. Everyone starts
Hmm.
to lock in and start playing their conference. That's
Conference
a whole
schedule.
season in
Hmm.
and of itself. And
Hmm.
it's culminated in the conference championships. And then everything starts clean with a clean slate at March Madness. And so
Hmm.
to me, it's really cool because season one and season two can look totally different. A team that's at the bottom of a conference can end up being fighting for, the tournament
It
at
is
the end.
possible, but when you see Arizona this year, and you see Michigan, and you see Duke, and you see
Yeah.
these guys that are just playing lights out, they look like
Yep.
Final Four contenders already. Doesn't mean they can't get injuries and drop off. It does happen, but it
What
really
I'm
seems
saying
to
is
me like that top group of top 10 programs. They really look solid this year.
what I'm saying is the top 10 is pretty much ready for the tournament now, they're going to have injuries. And the next 10, next 20 below that are all going to be
Hmm.
improving.
Hmm.
So there's going to be a bit of a mixing. You'll
Hmm.
see. And there will be teams that falter a little going down the stretch. The ones that have
Hmm.
started hot are going to look a little worse when they have some injuries, players getting suspended for academics or whatever. Um, skirmishes over
Hmm.
NIL, arguments about playing time. I'm transferring out of here. Anyway, so you're gonna have that mixing. Season one doesn't tell you that much about season two, in my opinion.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see. We'll see.
We'll
You
see.
can start seeing some of the best teams, but a couple of those teams at the top are gonna fall.
Yep, we'll find out. We'll find out when they get into their conference schedules if they're really
Yeah,
that good. We have Virginia sitting at 11-1, and yet we still don't totally know how good they are until they start playing
right.
Duke and Carolina and Georgia Tech and
Yeah, and the
Florida State.
committees know that, so that's why they haven't boosted them up into the top 10. They haven't really
Hmm.
played anybody.
That's right. And I mean, Carolina and Duke both look fantastic this year. They
Yeah,
both have a lot of
they do.
bigs.
They do.
I think that's not going to change. I think those are the two
Carolina's
best.
got real length, and Duke's got boozers, the
Hmm.
two Boozer brothers.
Hmm.
They, yeah, those two are going to be the top of the ACC.
And Michigan's climbed all the way up to number two, and they look like
Yeah,
they may
they
be the
look
best team in
awesome.
the country. They even look better than
Yeah.
Arizona. So scores
Season
and
two might be totally different.
is Drew. Let's go take a look at the scores and break down the stats. Here we go.
Yeah, let's do it.
Well, let's take a moment just to give a shout out to our sponsor for tonight, and that's Academy Sports, longtime sponsor of the program. We love Academy Sports. We go there for all of our sports apparel and equipment needs. Robbie, what do you think of Academy?
Fantastic. My family loves it, and I love it because it's so easy to get all our stuff there. There's one really close to my house, so proximity is couldn't be better. I love going in there. If you're like me and we've got three boys in this house, and they're always needing new equipment. They're growing like weeds, and they need to. I'm constantly updating their basketball stuff. Just got new basketball shoes. We're doing multiple sports throughout the year. Soccer's all year round. Baseball. They got everything. They got everything you might need. Really good selection. Great prices, and there's always very, very eager people who help you. So the customer service is outstanding. And I'm so glad they're a sponsor because I love going there.
And with Academy Sports, I mean, you walk through there, there's a football section, there's a baseball section, there's the area you can test your golf swing, there's a hiking area where you can get a backpack or a set of hiking boots. I got my last running shoes there, which I use all the time. So it's just laid out in such a cool way. So, guys,
Yeah.
go check out Academy Sports, check out academy.com, check out the Academy Sports app, or go to one of your stores locally as soon as you can and go check out some of the really cool goods that they have there.
Yeah, if you walk through there, I guarantee you're going to see some stuff that you need in your mind, like, oh, I need to get that next time I'm here, or oh, I forgot about a cooler, or we're getting a little chair for Bill to go to our the boys' baseball games,
Mhm.
and that's the perfect place to go get it. So
It
they
is.
they have everything you need. Go check them out.
Great place. We'll see
Yeah.
you guys next time. All right, so here's your college football playoff bracket for 2025. You see the big score 51-34. That game was over at halftime.
Mhm.
Oregon puts all their second stringers in the second half because they want to preserve them, not get injuries. I think they were, though. Dan Lenning actually said that they were a little surprised at how much fight JMU had in the second half. And he
Mhm.
said that if they knew that, they probably wouldn't have cycled so many players out because JMU went on this huge run in the second half and piled up a bunch of points in what should have been a 4 or 5 touchdown game. So, any take
Yeah.
on this game? I mean, you had like 1,000 yards of offense. You had Knight had a big game. JMU rolled up a lot of yards, a lot of stats, but in the end, they still got blown out.
Yeah, I mean JMU was very, very kind of one-sided. Wayne Knight had a nice game, definitely, but quarterback had to throw a lot. You know,
Yeah, he
Alonzo
did.
Barnett was airing it out. Uh, 23 of 48. That's not great.
You know what I
Two
couldn't believe about
touchdowns, no
Barnett,
picks.
Robbie? Have you
What?
seen how big that kid is? He
Yeah,
looks like a linebacker. He looks like
yeah.
Cam
He's
Newton, but even bigger.
he's on the bigger side.
He's huge. Yeah.
I know. Not a prototypical quarterback.
When you look at the stats, though, anything come out for you?
Not really. JMU definitely had an offense because Oregon was scoring pretty easily.
Hmm.
But no sacks for JMU. That's pretty bad. But that speaks to the offensive line for Oregon really had it under control. Um, but no, I think the stats are a little skewed because the starters got pulled and so they couldn't
Hmm.
maximize their time. Dante Moore definitely looked good.
He looked fantastic. It's funny. I was watching
He did have
FS1
two
today.
picks.
He did. He did. I was watching FS1 today, and they have a Jets fan on there who's always blabbing about the Jets, and he's talking about how they really need to draft a quarterback this year. And he
Yeah.
was praying that Dante Moore comes out. And the other host was saying he's not. He's already decided he's coming back for another year at Oregon because he's pretty young, and he's going to get a $7 million package. So it looks
Yeah.
like he's coming back. But I think he's going to be a really good pro. He's got all the tool sets, all the skills. One thing I noticed, Robbie, that I knew that this game was over. It was about a quarter in, and Oregon was just scoring at will. And every time they threw it to one of these big time receivers who's going to be an NFL
Yeah.
receiver, the JMU cornerback just couldn't handle it. They didn't, not only speed wise,
Yeah.
physically, they couldn't handle
It looked like a mismatch, dramatic mismatch, just like we thought it was going to be.
it.
There
Hmm.
was no surprises. There's no surprises. This is what everyone's fear was, and we had good basis for it. And I think the committee is going to have to look at like, what do we do about this?
Hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So that's what happened in that game. I thought, even though that was true, I think it was still an exciting game all the way to the end because JMU really, tried their best to try to make it a
Yeah.
game.
Yeah, they
But in
fought hard and it was admirable. You were kind of rooting for them to make it close.
the
Everyone
end,
wanted a good game, but
it was just a total mismatch in the end.
yeah.
If Oregon had kept their starters in there. So they go on to play Texas Tech. I think that'll be a fantastic game. I'm really looking forward to that one. Like all
Yeah,
these
same.
second round matchups are going to be really great. The next game was Alabama, Oklahoma. That game, 34-24. It was really the tale of two halves. Oklahoma jumps out to a 17-0 lead in Norman, Oklahoma, and they were playing fantastic. Mateer played better than I think I've seen him all season, throwing, running. Oklahoma's defense was flying all over the place, and they were, getting tackles and stuffing guys at the line. And Alabama really looked kind of flustered. And then they made some adjustments. And early in the second half, Alabama ties it up 17-17. And I kind of knew from there it looked
Yeah.
like Alabama was the better team. So any
Yeah,
surprises in this one?
Mateer had a great first half. He was putting up big plays. They were
Hmm.
explosive plays, which I was surprised at a little bit. I thought Alabama was gonna win about this score, but I did not anticipate the it being 17-0
Hmm.
for a while. And then Alabama fought back and got it tied up
Hmm.
and went in at halftime. So uh, not a surprise here because I knew it was going to be a good game. I figured 34-24 is probably about what the score was going to be, so that wasn't a surprise.
Hmm.
Mateer playing that well in the first half to me was a surprise.
It was a surprise. I agree. I absolutely agree. I picked Alabama, and you did too. And we both said because it's really hard to beat one team three times in the same season. And yet I'm sitting there looking at the screen and it's 17-0 Oklahoma in Norman, Oklahoma. And I'm thinking to myself, my goodness, they're going to beat them three times in a season. But I think in
For
the
me, it
end,
was I knew Oklahoma's defense was strong, elite
yeah,
even,
yeah,
but I didn't have faith in their offense. So I
right,
thought Alabama would wear them out eventually because they would outscore them, and that's kind of
right.
what happened, I
That's kind
guess.
of what happened. Yeah, Ty
But
Simpson was clearly the better quarterback.
both defenses were dominant.
If you're looking at these two guys as pro prospects, I mean, Ty Simpson is by far the better prospect.
Yeah,
So again, Alabama couldn't run the ball very much. It's
right.
a problem they've got going into this game against Indiana, and it's why I
Very
favor
much.
Indiana in this game because Indiana can run the ball. But anything
Yeah,
else
Jam
about?
Miller he's just not moving the ball.
Yeah, anything else you noticed about this one?
Not really. Just it kind of played out how I thought. It was gonna be tough in the first half, and then Alabama was gonna wear them out with, you know, I thought Oklahoma's offense was gonna fail, and it kind of did.
Hmm.
I don't think there were too many surprises in this game. It was an excellent game.
Hmm.
Definitely with Oklahoma getting out to a lead and then Alabama fighting back, tying it up, and then you kind of knew that it was going to be over pretty soon.
The biggest surprise of the weekend for me was Alabama coming back from a 17-0 lead on the road. I thought that was very impressive. Um, Once
For
they
me, it
got down
wasn't.
17-0, uh, I didn't think it was impossible, but I think that's the biggest surprise because there were not very many surprises out of these four games. So,
You know what I was surprised at? Yards per rush.
hmm
1.7 for Oklahoma, 1.1 for Alabama
that's just bad.
for yards per rush. It's
Yeah,
pitiful. I mean,
I know.
it's unbearable.
I know. You go into a game against Indiana with that kind of stat, and you
You
know
can't
Indiana's
win
going
that
to
way.
do
No,
something for Ty Simpson. Yeah,
they have to run the ball more effectively than that.
they
That's not
do.
going to work.
100%. The next game, Tulane goes down 41-10. Very similar game to the one they had earlier in the year when they played um, 2 months ago. And Ole Miss just dismantled Tulane. On the drives that Tulane actually had a decent drive going, which they did a couple times, Ratzlaff would throw a pick or something, or there'd be some kind of
Yeah,
fumble or some kind of
he
mistake.
was just trying too hard. Ole
Mhm.
Miss defense is awesome.
Yeah. And Lacey was unbelievable. He had some of the nicest runs of the year. And Chambliss was just
Yeah.
fantastic again. You know, he's just such a
To
great
me,
player.
to me, Chambliss is the second best quarterback in college football.
I
So,
think so too. You know what's amazing is he didn't start the year for Ole Miss. He came in the third game and started from there. They actually had
oh,
a guy beat him out in camp, so that's pretty
oh,
incredible. But he hadn't
yeah,
played the whole season. He's been fantastic.
yeah.
What do you see in the stats in that one?
Just Ratzlaff played pretty well, but he was just outgunned. You know that it just Ole Miss just kind of let him have it.
Hmm.
Um, it's pretty similar overall in a lot of the stat categories.
Hmm.
Um, but I think that Ratzlaff didn't have the weapons that Chambliss did, and I think Chambliss is just better. So
Hmm.
uh,
Agreed.
they dominated in most of the categories.
Hmm.
Turnovers was huge. Turnovers by Tulane. They had three turnovers, two
Now,
fumbles and a pick.
Ole Miss only had one loss this year, and it was against Georgia, and they played Georgia really tough. And
Yeah.
so, do you think Ole Miss has some, confidence going into this game against Georgia that they might be able to beat them,
Uh,
or coming out of Tulane, it's not much of a match?
I think it's not much of a match, and they're going to, like I said it last week, they're going to have a problem when there's a moment of unsettled temperaments. People are freaking out, bad
Hmm.
turnover in their wrong ends, like in their end. They get a safety, something
Hmm.
bad happens, and Ole Miss doesn't have their coach to settle everyone down, go and give
That's
the
right.
halftime speech. And I don't think you don't know what you have yet in a acting coach. So,
I still think Ole Miss has a chance to keep it close for three quarters because they have a lot of talent on that team. They're a really good team,
oh
but
yeah,
I think in the end, I like Kirby Smart to outcoach the interim coach,
exactly.
and I
Kirby
think he
Smart versus an
will win.
interim coach is not a contest.
All right, agreed.
But I'll take Chambliss,
But I
over
like Ole Miss's weapons to keep it
Stockton.
close. You know, that's why
Yeah.
I looked at that one.
But I think overall, Georgia's a more talented team
Hmm.
overall. And I think that Ole Miss is missing its coach. Those two factors, the roster and the coach, are just
Hmm.
slightly better. So it should
Hmm.
be a very competitive football game. It should be good television. But I can't really imagine Ole Miss beating Georgia. Very small percentage.
Early line for Georgia is -6.5, so about a touchdown. What
That's
Vegas
pretty
thinks.
good.
Yeah. All right, next game is Miami 10, Texas A&M 3. This is the only game you and I diverged in our picks. I picked A&M because they were at home. I thought it'd be a very close game and a very low-scoring game, and it was. You
Hmm.
ended up essentially having a 0-0 half and 3-3 at the end of the third quarter, and you had the defense just absolutely dominating this game. It was crazy to
Complete
watch.
domination.
It was
Yeah.
crazy to watch. And you had a situation where Miami just made one or two more plays in the fourth quarter and got a touchdown, and that was it. And very disappointing end of the season for A&M. Obviously, they got that late loss, or they would have been either the one or the two seed. They got the late loss, and then of course they just can't score in this game. It was really wild to watch, and I think Miami just had a little bit more weapons. That's what it looked like to me. Any thoughts on this game and why was it such a defensive struggle?
Because I think both of these teams' defenses are so outstanding. And if I was the NFL, I'd be licking my chops. Um, but at the end of the day, Miami's pressure
Hmm.
on Marcel Reed was the difference in the game.
It's
Not
true.
only was there a player on Miami, um, Malachi Tony, Malachi
Yeah,
Tony, who is absolutely unbelievable.
he's fantastic.
Um,
Yep.
yeah, I went and watched his college highlight reel. It's unreal. Um, in fact, he played quarterback sometimes when his quarterback would go down.
And
And
he scored the only
one,
touchdown in this game in the fourth
in
quarter.
one game,
Yeah,
I think he was like 18 of 18 for hundreds of yards and several touchdowns at
yeah,
quarterback. So this guy's an athlete like we haven't seen in
it's
a
true.
while.
It's
He's
true.
supposed to be a senior in high school right now. Just unreal. He didn't have the biggest impact, but he had just enough. His touchdown was the difference in the game. You know what I mean?
That's right.
But at the end of the day, why did Miami beat um, A&M? Because their defense.
Yeah,
Miami's defense was the better defense, and that was hard to believe going in. I thought
that
A&M
was
would have
the that was the best defensive performance I've seen the entire season. It was
7
unbelievable.
sacks and 9 tackles for loss. They
Ruben Bain,
completely throttled Marcel Reed.
they're saying Ruben Bain may go number one in the NFL draft, and if he
Yeah,
doesn't, he'll be a top three pick. He's that good. But what I didn't know is that everyone else on that defense is almost just as good. I mean, the
yeah,
corners were tackling incredible. They were giving 1 yard
yeah.
gains on swing passes. It
Yep.
was incredible. It was just domination. And Marcel Reed, of course, doesn't have near the experience that Carson Beck does, and I think it really showed up in the end. He's a sophomore and he's just really kind of green when it comes to starting. So,
I think the turnover battle skewed towards Miami,
mhm,
and the sacks. It was a complete defensive dominated game on both sides.
that's right.
And other than Malachi Tony's swing pass or yeah,
Yeah,
his receiving touchdown, there wasn't much to talk about on offense on either
that's
side.
true. It's true.
I will say statistically, A&M dominated, but
Hmm.
they Miami was bending but not breaking, and they were getting a lot of sacks that would send them backwards. So if you look at time of possession, a lot of the stats go in A&M's favor, but it's misleading.
It is
Miami
because
ran
if
the
you look
ball
at
well.
third down, you look at third down conversions, you look at all the big plays in the game, you can boil it down to
Yeah,
about 10 huge plays. And on all of
yeah,
them, Miami dialed up the right defense or the right pressure. And
no question.
and so that's when the game is won or lost, was those 10 big plays. And
Yeah,
Marcel Reed, he looked deer in the headlights when he had everybody in his face. He just didn't know what to do
yeah,
with it. So,
yeah. It was almost unfair. I mean, just something about A&M's offensive line was not able to handle Miami's pressure.
mhm, that's right. Well,
So
there are very few people that can block Ruben Bain
yeah,
and
yeah,
and the boys. I mean, what he does is he gets double and triple teamed and still gets there.
I
And then what
know.
that does is it frees up the other three guys to just absolutely tee off
Field day. Yeah,
field day. So I'm impressed by this. Congrats to you to picking Miami winning on the road here. I didn't see it coming. I really felt like Miami was just kind of a marginal CFP
I
team this year, and
I saw it coming
A&M was.
because
Yeah.
for the most part, Beck has only had a little bit of bad play this year.
Hmm.
He's not getting much credit for how he played this year, and I'm seeing a lot of positives.
Hmm.
He did have the stinker where he threw 4 picks, and everyone remembers that really clearly and is
Hmm.
thinking of him as a turnover machine, and he's not. He was in that game, no question. And if you see bad Carson Beck, then at some point they're going to get bounced because that's going to show up again. But if
Well,
good Carson Beck is there, this team is a nightmare for anybody.
and I wonder what Carson Beck's going to look like against Caleb Downs and the boys because
We'll see.
that's a very different defense than they're used to
We'll
playing.
see because I will tell you, you know what affects Carson Beck? Pressure. And
Hmm.
Ohio State's not getting as much pressure this year.
That
So
is
this
true.
might be the year that he can sit back there and the offensive line can hold up. And yeah, I don't want to throw it at Caleb Downs either, but if I have enough time, I will. You know? I'll
Well,
be
I
able
just
to
wonder
get my
if
guy to shake free.
I wonder because A&M did have Concepcion and they had some other guys, but they don't have Ohio State's offense either. So we'll
Yeah, the
see.
offensive line couldn't hold up.
We'll see if they can hold up against Ohio State's wide receivers. It's gonna be really
And
fun.
there was
Let's see.
something about Miami just went in there with a mindset of on the road, underdog. We're gonna just
It's true.
play like there's no tomorrow, and it felt like they just weren't gonna have it, you know?
This was an impressive win on the road. It really was.
Yeah.
All you can do is tip your hat to Miami getting it done. Let's take a look at the
Mm.
detailed stats here. The first one is that JMU game. If you just look at the difference between the two stats here, Barnett and Moore, really pretty similar stats in terms of passing yards. Knight and Davison had similar stats in terms of rushing yards. You had your top receivers there, Benson and DeGennaro. Sacks, you had Porter was your leading guy on the Oregon side. And then tackle, you had two really great performances by these middle linebackers.
Hmm. You know, it's funny. Sometimes I'll watch a game and then I'll go back to the stats to see if the stats told the story or if the stats were misleading. And I think in this case, the stats were a little misleading. Um, Oregon at no point was in jeopardy of losing this game.
That's right. Even though if
Score
you
is
look at
way
the total
closer than
yards,
it could have been.
look at the total yards, they're essentially the same, 509 to
Yeah, no,
514.
that's what I'm saying.
And then Oregon with two turnovers and JMU with zero, which really kept them in the game in some ways.
Yeah,
Both
yeah,
had 22 first downs.
yeah,
JMU did have a lot more penalties, which really killed them on a lot of drives.
it sure did.
And, you know, time of possession, JMU. So, and they were 4 for 4 on fourth down in the second half. So, I don't know. They did everything they could. They shot all their bullets, but they just don't have enough to beat a team like
No,
Oregon. Yeah,
they don't have enough playmakers.
that's right. That's right. So all you can do is tip a hat. They had an amazing
Yeah,
season. They got to the college football playoff. They played a juggernaut, and you know they uh, they were impressive in the
I'm
second
sure it
half.
helps their
Really won.
recruiting to be on the map, you know,
No doubt.
and to be able to compete with the big boys and show their brand. And if anyone was thinking about JMU or somewhere else, not the top, but you know, if you're thinking between JMU and Oregon, you're going to Oregon.
Doesn't it
But
feel
if
like
you're,
with the roster they have, this is about as good as JMU can play? That's how it
yeah,
feels like to me.
yeah, this
They
is,
they
yeah.
they showed themselves pretty well in this
Well,
game.
they played a lot of the game against backups,
Yeah,
and
that's right.
and you know,
Yeah. And they never gave up. So looking at the next game, Alabama, Oregon. I'm sorry. Looking at the next game, Alabama and Oklahoma. You look at the passing yards. Mateer actually came out on top, which surprised me. But he
mhm.
had that huge first half.
They had a big first half. He
Rushing,
was
neither
making
team.
lots of plays in the first half.
That's right. That's right. Neither team could get going rushing wise, which is a real concern for Alabama going forward. On the receiving side, I thought Alabama had the better weapons. It felt like they had a lot of guys all
Hmm.
over the field, including
Yeah,
Williams. Actually, had a couple nice catches. Sacks, they had Lawson and Jones are their top sack guys, and then in terms of tackles, they had some really nice performances there too. Any surprises here that, if you look at just pure stats, Mateer actually had a pretty good game.
the tier played great in the first half, and then it felt like Alabama's defense started to get control.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at it, I mean, they only scored 7 points in the second half,
That's
and
right.
that you know that tells the story
It does.
that Alabama was able to come back and close the door by keep scoring and shutting down Mateer.
I thought the drive of the game was it was 17-7 and a half, and the drive of the game was that first touchdown by Alabama when it went to 17-14. You could just
Yeah,
feel all the Oklahoma fans were like, "Uh-oh, here we
yeah,
go." And that was it. I mean, it just showed Alabama had more weapons and just higher level talent. And Simpson was much better
yeah,
in terms of quality
yeah.
throws.
Simpson had a nice game.
Who did? Looking at the team stats, total yards, I thought this was kind of surprising. Alabama only had 260 total yards. It felt like it was more if you watch the game. Um, they
Yeah,
got outgained by Oklahoma 362 to 260, and I didn't see that coming. Oklahoma's offense is not very good.
well, they can't run the ball.
Yeah. Oklahoma had one turnover, Alabama zero. First downs, Oklahoma won those. Penalties are about the same. Third down conversions, I thought Oklahoma was a little bit better on those. Both were 1 for 1 on fourth down, and then time of possession also to Oklahoma. So in the
But
end,
the
some of those,
hilarious stat is yards per rush.
right?
1.7 versus 1.1.
That's right. Yeah.
That's really imbalanced offense. That's not
So,
okay.
so what was amazing is that in a lot of ways, Oklahoma outgained Alabama, but Alabama had more quality drives.
Yeah.
And Simpson had about three amazing throws in this game. I mean, just dead
Yeah.
on, right over the guy's shoulder. And that was the
You know,
difference
there's
in the game, you know?
there's two different metrics that all these stats point to for a quarterback. There's two different things that a quarterback had a good game, and and they're kind of equally important. One is, are they efficient? You know, I don't want to see 19 of 54, you know?
Hmm.
I want to see
Hmm.
19 of 22. You know, I want to see efficiency, meaning my percentage of completions is very high.
Hmm.
That's what I want to see. I want to see efficiency. I also want to see quarterbacks throw it less than 40 times. That means you're running the ball effectively, most likely, and that gives you the best chance to win. You won't win every game, but you'll win a lot of them. So the first thing with quarterbacks is efficiency. And in these games, you could see the more efficient quarterback usually won. You usually see the quarterback that's throwing a lot that can throw off the yardage numbers. So in some cases, JMU or any of these teams start throwing the ball all over the place and get a lot of yardage, but that doesn't tell the story because they're missing a lot and there's a lot very inefficient offenses. The second thing is big time throws in big time moments of the game. So there's quarterbacks here who may not have played very efficiently, maybe
Hmm.
didn't light it up, or maybe like Carson Beck or anybody else, who maybe only threw the ball 14 times or whatever.
Hmm.
In Beck's case, he was 14 of 20. That's pretty efficient,
It is.
but his touchdown was the difference, you know, throwing it to Malachi Tony. Um, and actually, Reed was pretty efficient, 25 of 39. Oh, that's not
Hmm.
that efficient. Two interceptions. But at the end of the day, you got the efficiency throughout the game, and then quarterbacks having the perfect throw in a big moment in the game that swings the momentum. So like a big bomb at the end of half or a huge third down conversion, big moment where the quarterback steps up, makes a
Yeah,
play.
that's
Maybe a
right.
quarterback runs for a first down and moves the chains, and that's like breaks the back of the defense. So those are really the two big things for a quarterback. And honestly, sometimes you may not be very efficient, but you're good in the big moments. That might be enough to win if your defense is
And
holding.
that's what it was in this game because I will
Yeah.
say Oklahoma was better offensively than I thought they were going to be. They really were.
Yeah, me too.
But they were good in between the 20s. And you
Hmm.
mentioned that Miami and several of the teams this weekend were bend don't break, and Alabama
Yeah,
definitely was in the second half. They were giving up a lot of yards, but when it got down into scoring range, Oklahoma couldn't punch it in. So
right. You need your quarterback to get you into the end zone or to get that first down, to not stall out on the 20.
Oklahoma
To,
also with a really huge miss in the third quarter. It was only a 42-yarder, and that would have kind of contained the momentum for Alabama at
yeah,
that time. But you just can't have that. You got to hit everything that you can, especially if you're challenged offensively. So
yeah. Sometimes what I'm talking about with the second thing that I was talking about with quarterbacks, where they do the big play in the big moment, sometimes it's just a first down that lets you stay on the field and keep grinding the defense down.
that's right.
And when quarterbacks have those kind of games, they usually win. If you're good
Yep.
in both those areas, you're probably going to win. If you want to be good in one or the other, being efficient but not big in big moments means that you move the ball all the way down the field and then stalled. And you
I'll
don't
tell
want
you,
that.
we saw these two teams play three times this year, and all three games were tight. And
Yeah.
I think they're pretty evenly matched overall.
Yeah.
Alabama just a little better in this day.
Both have good defenses, and I think
Mhm.
um, Ty Simpson and DeBoer are a little more of an offense,
And both teams can't run the ball. So
and both teams cannot run the ball.
that's right.
That's why neither one of them is winning the title.
So the next game, the blowout 41-10 we talked about. Here's the game leaders. Retzlaff actually had a pretty decent day, even though we only got
Yeah.
10 points.
I like
Chandler,
him. I'd look at him if I'm in the pros. I'd put
Chandless
him.
was Chandless was downright spectacular, both
He
running
was
the ball
unbelievable.
and passing the ball. 23 for 29.
No surprise because I've always felt like him and uh Fernandez
Fernando Mendoza.
Fernando Mendoza. Sorry. Him and Fernando Mendoza to me have been the best two quarterbacks all
Mhm.
year.
Yeah, I
There
agree
have
with
been
that.
moments where Pavia, there's been moments where some of the others, but those two have consistently been, I think, the best.
How
And
good a
I'm
back
not
is
I'm
Lacey,
not
man?
surprised that James look good at all.
Are you going to be surprised that Lacey is a star in the NFL? I'm not.
No,
God, he
he is
runs well.
he's gonna be a star in the NFL.
Yeah, I think so too.
Unless he gets hurt, he's gonna be good.
He- He's fantastic. So they just rolled up the yards. They played really solid defense. They were bend,
Mhm.
don't break. You can see in sacks, you had this Uman Alaman guy who was just a really great player.
Yeah,
And looking at the team stats, you had 497 to 421. A lot of those were kind of useless yards between the 20s. They're
right.
totally, they had the three turnovers that were total backbreakers on some of those drives.
They're crushing.
And yeah, first downs were significantly towards Ole Miss. And then the fourth down conversions were killers. Tulane had 3 4th and 1s and didn't get any of them.
Yeah,
Whereas,
so this is a case where a lot of the stats do tell the story. Some of it's misleading because of yardage that you mount when you're keep getting the ball back, because the other team keeps scoring on you. And I don't know, this was pretty much a beating like you would anticipate
Joel
when
Klatt was saying that the strangest stat in this game was the time of possession was towards Tulane a little bit, and he
yeah,
said the reason is the Ole Miss was scoring so quickly. A lot of their drives were like three plays, 78
that's
yards, and
yeah,
four
that's what I'm
plays,
saying.
63 yards. They're scoring
And
so fast that they didn't have the
if
ball.
you're getting a pick on the other team's 25 or 30,
Yeah,
you're not going to get the much yardage.
right.
You're gonna drive it in and score a touchdown in 3 plays, 2 plays, and then give the ball back to them, and they're gonna have nice long 50-yard drives before they stall out. Uh, and then it's misleading in
Mm-hmm.
yardage. That's not how
Right.
most games play out, but it can play out in a blowout.
Mm-hmm. 100%. So yeah, congratulations to Ole Miss Rebels, and that game was
And
not close.
and
We didn't think it would be.
congratulations to Tulane. Tulane had a really nice season.
They did.
Their
They really
their
did.
coach moved on to a bigger program, but he definitely left the program in great shape. He
They
certainly
did. They
was
did.
thinking of them and their best interests. Him and his wife decided to donate a bunch of money to their NIL,
Mm-hmm.
and they're in pretty good place. I mean, obviously they're
Yeah.
going to miss that coach.
They'll get a good coach, I'm sure. That's a good program. Very
Yeah,
attractive job. So Miami 10-3. Let's take a look at the game leaders here. Passing yards, Carson Beck with 103 passing yards. I never thought I'd see that in a winning
yeah.
effort, but that's how good the A&M defense was. I mean, it just completely
A&M
smushed.
defense was good, and it
Yeah,
was vanilla. They didn't ask him to do too much. They said, if you don't lose it for us, we're going to win this thing. And
they
they were
just told
right.
him, please don't turn it over, basically.
Don't lose the ball.
And this
Do
kid
not lose the
Fletcher
ball.
was really kind of a find because he was not their top back, and he wasn't even their second back at the beginning of the
Yeah,
year. And he just had a fantastic game. He was really kind of the standout performer in this game was this kid Fletcher
yeah.
for Miami.
I'm always
Marcel
nervous when
Reed,
I'm always nervous when your quarterback is your leading rusher. I don't like
yeah,
that very much.
right. I agree with
I don't
that.
mind a quarterback having a lot of yardage, but running.
To
But
me,
if they're your leading rusher, that's a bad stat.
that stat's probably the biggest stat I saw out of all of these was that 172 to 27. That just says a
Yeah,
lot if you're rushing the ball that well. And
that's
that's
right.
all you're doing well, by the way. They were not passing it well. So
Yeah.
I'm looking down some more here. The top receiver for Miami was 33 yards. And on the other side, Texas A&M, they had Craver get 92. Bain with 3 sacks. We
Yeah.
already talked about he may go number one.
They had
Yeah,
7 total.
yeah. I mean, they were just
Yeah.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
And then tackles. Scott was a really great tackler in this game. Every time they did a swing pass, he would either get a tackle for a loss or it'd be like a 1 yard gain. I had
Hmm.
not seen a DB tackle like that in a long time. It was really fantastic. Looking at the team stats, A&M actually comes out on top in total yards, but had those three killer turnovers, which absolutely crushes any type of scoring drives. Penalties weren't not too many. It was a pretty clean game.
Hmm.
Third down conversions, Texas A&M had a lot more of them. Did okay, but we're 0-1 on fourth down, and then they had more possession. But again, neither team could really score most of this game. It was really kind of a frustrating experience. Any other takeaways for this one?
Just, I think the turnovers were backbreakers,
Mm-hmm.
and the fact that Miami was able to run the ball kind of kept more control of the game
Mm-hmm.
and then allowed them to just make a few more plays, not many more with Malachi Tony.
Mm-hmm.
And Beck was very intent on not losing the game for them and not throwing the ball into harm's way very often. So, you can't
So
ask
most
more of A&M's defense, that's for sure.
It's true. And most games, special teams don't make a lot of difference. But in this game, when it's 3-3 going into the fourth quarter, you special teams can
Yeah,
make a difference, and it really did for Miami. They had
huge.
some huge returns that got
Yeah.
into A&M territory, so really made a difference for them. So looking at our last game stats here, sorry, let me go down here. So looking at our current bracket after the four games, Robbie, you now have Oregon take on
Mhm.
Texas Tech, Alabama, Indiana, Ole Miss, Georgia, and Miami, Ohio State. So we talked about our bracket picks last week, but do you have any new leans that you want to talk about here, or anything new that came out of these
No,
games?
I'm still right on target, I think. I like my picks. This
All
is
right, so
going exactly as I thought it would really, to this point at least. There will be surprises.
you got Texas Tech, you got Indiana, you've got Georgia, and you've got Ohio State.
Hmm.
Yeah, and I have the same. I
Yeah,
think those
I think
four
that's
totally.
logical.
Yeah,
I think there
agreed.
might be one upset in those four. Um, if I had to guess which one, I would probably say Oregon could beat Texas Tech.
I think Oregon has the best chance to upset.
Yeah,
Um,
but I'm not anticipating that. I think Texas Tech gonna play out of
I
their
think
minds.
I think Miami can keep it close for a half with that defense, but I think they're going to be introduced to Mr. Jeremiah Smith.
Yeah,
And I think it's going to
Carnell
be really
Tate.
tough. And Cornell Tate, yeah.
Yeah, it's
So
just hard. You don't have enough corners to cover those guys.
the closest game matchup wise is Oregon Texas Tech. That's
Yeah, I think so.
essentially a flip. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So we'll talk about it next week, guys. Who the winners were.
And I
We're
don't
going
think
to do.
Georgia's going to blow Ole Miss out.
I agree with that. Yeah,
I think that's going to be a tight one for a while.
they have a shot because of Chambliss and because of Lacey. They have a
Yeah.
shot to
I
steal that
love
game.
Chambliss as a quarterback. Like
Yeah,
that's you can't
that's
say
right.
enough good things. I just think Georgia's a little more talented overall. That's just what I
Exactly
think.
right. You guys drop us a comment. Who do you think are going to win these four games? We're real interested to hear. And what games are you most excited about coming up in the next week or so? So you had South Carolina State, Prairie View, not really that interesting a game, but you did have this great game between Washington and Boise that I thought
Yeah,
was going to be a fantastic matchup, and Washington absolutely smashes them,
they
38
smashed
to
them.
10.
Hmm.
So what is your take on that? I mean, Washington really did finish very strongly. I mean, they gave Oregon a pretty good match. They gave a bunch of teams a tough time.
Washington was tough this year. I really didn't believe much in Boise this year. I
Mm-hmm.
felt like they had a big letdown year, and even though statistically it wasn't bad, I think that I said it in a couple of our other episodes that I just didn't feel like they belonged.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, 9-5 is a pretty good season. Obviously, when you lose Ashton Genty, your program's going to take a step back, but I just think they weren't able to effectively run the ball.
That's right.
They really miss Genty not being there.
And Washington's a very good program, and they continue to be. So
Washington's
they're
tough.
tough.
We
Yeah,
got
they're
to
tough.
see them this year, and
Yep.
they're tough. And they were able to run okay.
Mm-hmm.
Washington was. They had a balanced offense.
100%.
Denzel Boston had 126 yards receiving.
So next game, Jacksonville State 17, Troy 13. Not a whole lot there, other than it was the Veterans Bowl. So there were a lot of veterans there. It was kind of fun to watch. The next game, though, was very shocking. Old Dominion knocks off South Florida, who had that fantastic season, but did lose their coach recently. So there was
Yeah,
a
I
little
think
bit. You always
that
wonder if there's
shows you how vulnerable you are when you lose your coach.
you always wonder if there's a rallying effect, and some teams have that, or if there's a deflation effect. And I didn't know which one was going to happen for Ole Miss. I figured they would win, but
I think
South
you
Florida had the opposite happen to them. They had a deflation against Old Dominion.
I think you naturally have a rallying effect, but if you hit moments where you need a coach to calm everyone down and to refocus everybody on the fundamentals and get the game plan back on track and,
Hmm.
slow down, let's run the ball for a little while and, let's let our defense recover. And when your coach is not in place, that's really harmful.
It
And
is.
it can be really tough. And I think that's kind of what happened. I mean,
Hmm.
I think ODU was easy to underestimate, and South Florida missed its coach.
100%. And ODU has some really big games this year, so they were a pretty good team. I mean, there's a
And
reason
I
they're
seem
there.
to remember, I need to look this up, but I seem to remember, I think there were some players for South Florida that didn't play
Hmm.
because they're going into the portal.
That happened across the entire league, and there's a lot of
Yeah,
talk about is it destroying the bowl games? You already have the college football playoff that's destroying the bowl games in a lot of ways, but
yeah,
the other thing you have is you have quarterbacks and other key position players who refuse to play in bowl games because they want to get hurt for the next season because
right.
they're likely going to a different destination. So
Yeah, and
it really hurts these teams. Yeah.
their contract only works and they only get paid their $2 million if they show up at the other team.
So
So,
if you're the Camping World Bowl committee, you're just sad because you're not going to get,
yeah.
100% of both rosters. You're going to get, a lot of second stringers and those kind of things. So next game, Delaware wins 20-13 against Louisiana. Arkansas State takes out Missouri State in the Xbox Bowl. It's kind of fun that there's an
Hmm.
Xbox Bowl. You have Western Michigan beat Kennesaw State. And then the
Hmm.
big game that you and I cared about, NC State beats Memphis 31-7 in a complete romp in Raymond James Stadium in Tampa.
Yeah, they
And
whipped them.
I was really proud of the NC State fans. That place was two-thirds NC State. I mean, it was a sea of red. It
Yeah.
was pretty
Yeah,
cool to
NC
see.
State, they pack it out. No pun intended.
What was your take on this game? Why do you think they blew out a really good Memphis team that
I
had a
just
good
think
season?
CJ Bailey's a really good quarterback and he's really come along nicely. He's only sophomore. And
And they're
they
really
kind of
running the ball
surprised
well.
Memphis a little bit. Memphis was surprised.
Yeah, they were. And NC State's running game was good at the beginning of the year, but it's really good now. I mean, they've got like two or three backs that are really fantastic.
Yeah.
And so it's not just Bailey. I mean, he hands it off to these guys who can go the distance on every play. So congratulations, NC State. What a great win that was in the Gasparilla Bowl, Robbie. That was
Yeah.
fun. Pretty good.
Yeah, that was pretty funny name of a bowl, but I'll tell you, the alumni were happy going to Florida. So,
So looking at college basketball, the headline this week was Michigan closing the gap on number one Arizona and AP men's hoops poll. And if
yeah.
you come down and take a look at it here, you have Arizona 1, Michigan 2, Iowa State 3, UConn 4, Purdue 5, Duke 6, Gonzaga 7, Houston 8, Michigan State 9, BYU 10. So we talked about like those top 10, just huge
Yeah,
programs that played great last year and are just fantastic this year. We don't know which of these 10 will drop off when they get into conference play, but it really looks like to me, Robbie, that those top 10 are the kind of early contenders for
for
March Madness.
sure. Early on, no question.
Yeah. And you can even probably go all the way down to 12 because you got Vanderbilt at 12-0 at 11. You got North Carolina at 12, and they're really good this year, too.
Yeah. Yeah, outside the top 10, there are teams that are going to move up for sure. And you just don't
So
know which
the
ones yet, really.
so conference play starts January 5th. Are you
Mm.
excited about that, Robbie, to see kind of
Yeah.
who's for real and who's not?
Like I said in the beginning, I feel like that's season two. And I think that's the second season you get with your players. Now you know them a little bit. You've seen some great plays out of your players. You've seen some letdowns, maybe a couple losses. and you've gotten to see them in different tournament settings, etc. You're learning their personality, and you're starting to figure out as a coach how to pull the strings and
That's right.
who needs more playing time, who's hot, who's not. What do you do when this guy 3-point shooter is missing? How do you respond to that? Who's
That's
who's
right.
getting in a lot of foul trouble consistently? How can we work on his defense and his footwork?
Hmm.
Um, this I really enjoy season two because I feel like it's very different than season one.
It's interesting. So you look at the second half of the bracket, it's kind of interesting. Alabama and Texas Tech were early top five teams, but had a couple losses early.
Mhm.
And you can't tell me the two of those teams won't be contenders at the end. They just had a bad start.
They're gonna slowly rise back up again.
Yeah.
You know what I
They're
mean?
both they're both 9-3, and they're going to keep rising. And Texas Tech
Yeah.
had that huge 17-point comeback against Duke, where they beat them
Yeah.
82-81, and now they're rising again. And of course, Louisville is maybe the third best team in the ACC right now. They're sitting at 10-2, and then of course
Yeah.
Virginia at 10-1, sitting at 21 now. They've been rising
Mhm.
slowly. So this can be a really competitive ACC this year.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's a little more competitive. ACC has definitely pumped more NIL money in than they had been.
Hmm.
They weren't very competitive the last 2 years. So
And you have other teams down here. You got Kansas, they're sitting at 17. They're a really good team. Illinois is very good. You got Florida, Georgia. Um, a lot of really good teams this year. I'm kind of excited
yeah.
about college basketball. I think it's going to be really, really good basketball all the way
Well, the
through.
reason it's exciting is players come back more now. So
Right.
they don't want to throw their hat in and go to the G League.
It's
They can
true.
get paid in college. So I love it.
I do too. It really is fun to watch.
I'm not in a hurry to see a sophomore go to the NBA and sit in the G
No,
League.
no. It's
Oh,
helping college basketball.
I want to get to know a player over 4 years, maybe five.
It's helping college basketball and it's helping college football. There's just no
No
doubt.
question. Yeah.
Mhm. All right, Robbie. So last take on college football going forward. The games start on the 31st, so we don't have any football this weekend, but next year into 31st, January 1st, January 2nd, that's when we're going to have the second round games.
A lot of the good quarterbacks are left. So that's going to be really exciting play. Hopefully we can see efficient football against these tough defenses where, you don't see 15 of 42 or something. You want to see 20 of 24
Hmm.
for 240 yards and two touchdowns on both sides. That means it
Hmm.
was an efficient game, very few turnovers, hopefully. And that's good quarterback play. You're not winning the game by yourself, but you're using your weapons and these defenses that are left and the top defenses are
Hmm.
still alive. And that's exciting too.
Do you see
A
what
lot of pressure.
Dave Canales said from the Panthers? And when they asked him about these college football playoff games coming up, he
Mhm.
said, "Trust me, we'll be watching." He said the football is very high level now, and
Yeah, it is.
he said number two, our scouting staff will have representation at all four games. So
Oh
you can
yeah.
imagine if you're an NFL scout, this is like your Super Bowl. These next couple
Yeah.
rounds of games, you're going to be
Yeah,
there
because
at
you're
the game.
looking to pluck not just the obvious picks, the five-star kid who was a blue chip, but
Hmm.
you want to get the guy that nobody really looked at and worked his way into the starting lineup and he's making an impact. Because you can get that guy in the seventh, eighth round
Hmm.
and he could end up being a starter for you.
You know what John Middlecoff said? He was a scout for the Eagles before he became a
Yeah,
podcaster. He
he
said
was.
that you cannot scout a guy just by watching tape. He said it's not enough. He said you have to
I
actually
know.
go to the games. And
Yeah,
Colin Cowherd said, "Why? Why is that? Why can't you just watch film?" He said, "Because he said it's all the intangible stuff that I see
yeah,
off camera." And he's like, "What? Like what?" And he said, "The guy goes over and pats all his teammates on the butt and say, 'Come on, man, we
yep.
got this. Let's go.'"
The
The
way he
guy
treats his family
treats his family.
before and after the game, especially
He
after a
said
loss.
he said the way he warms up is important. The way that he practices for the game is important. Like those, pregame snaps and drills. He said
Yeah.
the way he's throwing the ball with no one in his face versus guys in his face. He wants to be able to compare that, those kind of things.
Also,
So many intangibles.
um, also you might see a guy missing free throws who's on that guy's team, what does he do during the timeout when the TV goes to commercial? Does he go over there and put his arm around him and go, I love you, man. Don't worry about that. We need you. You're going to be just fine. Just relax and hit him because you're going to hit him next time. If a
100%.
player does that, that's what you want on your team. You don't want somebody who's going to go sulk and side eye that guy and say, "Man, if you weren't missing, we'd be
Mhm.
winning right now."
He said, I
No.
even want to see him go over across the field and talk to the other team's quarterback and talk to the other team's coach. He said, I
Yeah,
want to
what
see
can I
that
do better?
maturity. I want to see that maturity, from like a
Yeah.
kid like Ty Simpson or so I thought that was really interesting. The guys who are film
Yeah.
junkies is great, but you have to go to the games. You have to watch them.
Yeah, I saw a rookie recently. I think it was for Houston. It was for somebody, I don't remember, in the NFL, and he went up to um uh one of the Eagles veterans and he said, it was a pleasure playing against you today. What do you think I could do a little better?
Mm-hmm.
And man, that's a good question. Like
It's
that's
great.
when you go to your opponent who played you all day and you ask him, how could I get better? And he said, look, you're doing amazing for a rookie. Like you're on the right track.
Mm-hmm.
Believe in yourself, work really hard. He gave all the platitudes,
Mm-hmm.
but the fact that that person's reaching out to your opponent that you just played against for 60 minutes,
They were
for
talking
three
about
hours.
a guy like Smith and Jigba who's just blown off the page this year. They said that
Yeah.
if you looked at his film from college, it was good but not great. It wasn't even close to like some of the guys that are playing for Ohio State now. It wasn't even close.
Yeah.
But he said
Yeah.
what happened was the scouts went to his actual games and saw all those intangibles. He was a
Yeah.
good leader on the side of the field. He was encouraging other guys. He was talking to the defense. You
Yeah.
guys got this, and so that stuff really matters to the scouts.
Yeah, it does. And conversely, I've seen where I saw a women's basketball coach talking about how she coaches at one of the top programs, and she went to go see a five-star, can't miss prospect who was really mean to her family after a loss, and not nice to some of her teammates, and they dropped her. They said, "Nope, we're not going to pursue this person anymore because she's got a lot of growing up to do and all that." So,
Mhm. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining our on-campus review for this week. What a fun weekend it was with college football playoff. Finally, we've been waiting for months, and college basketball really heating up. It's been really getting good, and we're going into the new year with the conference schedules. And we've got some great games coming up starting on December 31st. We'll be talking about. And guys, have the
conference
best Christmas with your families.
conference play coming is real exciting because it gets scrappy, It gets really scrappy. The student body's going crazy against the old rivals. And that's exciting. The college playoff is amazing. The two teams that didn't really belong there are gone now. So what we have left now is the championship. We have a round of eight that really belong there. So I can't wait till this all plays out. And it's gonna be so much drama, so much amazing football. Hopefully, no injuries or very few. Just great football. And then let's get to know a few players we've never heard of and don't know very well. And hopefully, they'll all come back and we can have a good sense of these teams for next year. Yeah.
And
But
what's
the
really
transfer
cool?
portal is going to mix the deck up.
What's really cool is, Rob and I've had two, drafts in a row that we've brought to you guys with podcasts, and we're going to do that again this year, of course. We'll probably be hearing a lot about all the players we see in these eight teams. We'll hear a lot of those guys
Yeah.
getting called for draft on Sunday. So it's going to be fun to watch them a couple months ahead of time.
Yeah, because I'll tell you why. Think back to what I just talked about with quarterbacks, how there's efficiency throughout the game, and then there's big moments. How do they do in the big moments? Well, there are more big moments in big games. So if you have more big moments in the big games, the semifinal of the
Mhm.
national championship playoff, um, where it's 3rd and 9 and the quarterback's running for his life and gets the first down, makes the amazing throw for a touchdown or throws the pick, folds under the
Mhm.
pressure. That's going to tell the scouts a lot in terms of getting finding the diamond in the rough.
I mean,
And
Alabama, Indiana, it doesn't get any better than that. And you think about Ole Miss,
yeah,
Georgia, they played earlier this year and it was a really tight game. It was a really good game.
yeah,
I think it'll be good again. I don't care if Georgia wins by a touchdown. You can't tell me Lacey and Chambliss are not going to have huge games. So
they should. They should.
it'll be a
And
lot of
I
fun.
wouldn't be surprised if any one of those eight teams beat the other. I don't think there's much of an upset from here.
And then Oregon's offense and Texas Tech's offense. Oh my goodness. I mean,
Yeah.
it's been so much
You're
fun.
left with the eight best teams probably in football, and they're all playing each other. So I think mostly anything that comes out of this is going to be positive. It's going
Mhm.
to be good. There might be a bad call that blows a game for a team or something, but all these teams are deserving. They all belong there. They all have great defenses for the most part, and it's going to be exciting. It's going to be really cool. I can't wait till it goes.
So final word as we sign off, you think the fix to the playoff to make it perfect, because it's pretty good right now, is to have play-in games with the smaller conferences to give
Yep.
them a shot. That's what I
Leave a
think.
path for them to still have a way in, but they have to play the next team out to earn their way in.
So JMU, Notre Dame, and
JMU against Notre Dame and
Tulane against
BYU against Tulane.
yeah,
And I would have been fine with that. And if
yeah,
JMU or BYU beats them, cool.
yeah.
And if probably they'd get steamrolled. Um, I think Tulane could hang with BYU for a little while. So that might have been a decent game.
Plus, we get 2 extra games to talk about on the podcast. I don't mind that at all.
Exactly. And the right. And the bowl games don't start, they could start a little earlier. So I'd start that one early,
Mhm.
and maybe have the teams that play their way in play the Saturday, so to give them that extra day.
Good luck to all the bowl teams that are playing this week, including our Virginia Cavaliers this coming weekend. It'll be fun in the Gator Bowl. And
Yeah, there's bowl games going on right now. It's so exciting. I hope everyone has a Merry Christmas and obviously a Happy New Year, a safe one, and that we're really excited about all this sports. Check out our merchandise store.
yep,
It's fun that we have that up. A lot of cool stuff in there. I was surprised when we got to go through the catalog, how much cool things we could put our brand on it and do. I'm excited. I think
yep.
I'm getting a few of those under the tree myself. But you know, it's going to be a great holiday. I hope everyone
Hmm.
enjoys themselves, gets to relax, and dives into all this great sports, and that
Hmm.
a lot of good family time. Make sure that that we don't forget why we're doing this, why we have this time. It's a
Yeah.
great time to regroup and get with your family.
As Rob said, check out our merch store. It's not too late. Order some stuff for your family today. Even if it doesn't quite get there by Christmas, it'll get there before New Year's probably. And there's a lot of great stuff out there. And guys, enjoy football. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. And we'll see you guys next time on the Sports Guys. Have a great one.
Take care. See you.